Hello there, welcome to episode 9 of the Patcast. I am Landon West.
I'm Chuck Livingston. Welcome to the PAT.
Tyler Bennett.
I don't know what show
Already
he's
off the
talking
rails.
about.
Already
Okay,
off the rails.
Aside from that, let's get started with what happened in Searcy the other night. Guys, a bit of a surprise victory for the Patriots, I think, by many accounts, especially by Searcy's accounts, and perhaps some others in the local area.
What about the local media? What do they think about it?
Well, how did you tout this game up leading into it then, local media?
If you want me to be totally honest, I was not sure. From everything I had seen about Searcy, I was thinking it was going to be a tough matchup for Marion. I felt like the things that they did well were things that Marion didn't necessarily do well to stop and defensively. But hey, again, we don't have any crow here today. But I was pretty wrong. I mean, not only obviously any given Friday, any team can rise up and win a game and things like that. But Marion did this very convincingly. I think it definitely caught the attention of a lot of people across the state. I can only speak to myself. Now, obviously, I'm not on the record anywhere picking a loss. Thank you, Landon.
Yeah.
But I would have probably picked Searcy. I don't think it would have been 49-14 like it was last year at Patriot Stadium. But I would have picked the Lions convincingly. So but man, the guys really proved me wrong. The coaches that they really played hard. They executed well. I don't know. They could have played better. They didn't turn it over. There are a couple sacks, things like that. But over the course of a game, you're going to have that really good win for Marion. I can't say enough about it.
Yeah, one of the people who rose to the occasion this week, who has been moderately absent so far. I think this was his first game over 100 yards rushing, if you can call that moderately absent. Tom Young had a huge night, somewhere between 275, 290 yards rushing.
Tom or Tim?
Well, at 103 The Buzz, we appreciate the correction on that. We're going to stand up for our boys. Of course, his all-purpose yards exceeded 300. What brought this on, Tyler? All of a sudden, it became the Tom Young show, just like the past year and a half.
I think this was just a good matchup for Tom.
Mm-hmm.
All year he's been dealing with big defenders that can run, but we didn't necessarily see some speed out of Searcy, and that's Tom's game, is his speed game.
Mm-hmm.
All he needed was to break a couple arm tackles, make a move or two, and then he's going into the end zones. There's plays where he's sitting people down, not even for touchdown, just juking people out of their shoes. So this was just a really good matchup as far as the defenders were, and we got to see the old Tom Young back. Hopefully he's going to be back into the right mindset again. He's shown that he can have games like he did last year, and hopefully that continues on into the future against some more matchups like this.
Absolutely. Tom Young had a big night. Colin Chambers and Peyton Walker, and you can throw Taylor Brown in on that. Definitely had a strong showing in the game against Searcy. One of the things that I noticed was one of my keys to the game last week that we talked about was having speed on the outside. And I felt like that definitely came true for Colin, and he was able to catch these quick slants. On this play right here, he's out in the flat, and the defender just barely misses it, but he sure enough pays for the gamble on that. So Colin Chambers was going on the slant, but obviously when you are defending that, Taylor Brown right here, able to take it in for the touchdown. A lot of out in the flat going on in this game, I thought, more than I remember seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the play that's my personal favorite is when it sets Tom Young up. When Tom is kind of just the running back, and it looks like it's an empty field except for him, and they're lining up for the pass, and then just hand it off, and it kind of turns into a glorified screen pass. So that happened with a lot of success the other night against Searcy, I thought.
Well, the 67-yard touchdown run was just like that. You're describing, it's really a draw play. You get the defense going one way on the field, and now you hand it back to Tom, who's got a full head of steam going back the other way. They ran it a couple times. They weren't all 67-yard touchdown runs, but they were huge gains. The 67-yarder, though, was at the end of the first quarter. It got Marion to the second, up 14-7, and it was just a thing to watch. I mean, I don't even know that he was touched. I mean, he hit the hole and he was gone to the house. But yeah, you mentioned Colin. He had he caught 8 balls for 56 yards. I know that's probably not the production that a lot of people, probably even himself. He wants the ball every play, but those did set up the other things that Marion was able to do offensively, and I think that was by design.
Yeah.
I think that the quick pass, they were worried about Searcy's pass rush, and but again, you're able to get it out in the flats, the slants, things you were talking about. Peyton Walker's number, I think he did about 180 yards passing, but he was fairly accurate. He didn't make the big mistake, and those big receivers came through with him. And I thought the game plan, the play calls were all designed to put him in a position to succeed. And again, when you got a guy like Tom Young, sometimes it's going to be a Tom Young game like the other night. This week it may be Colin, maybe Taylor, maybe Ryan Robbins. But the point is, you're going to have those options. And, sometimes when you're a play caller, if you've got those options, it's like going to a great restaurant. Like, oh, do I get the lasagna? Do I get the pizza? What do I get? There's 8 options that are going to be delicious. All these guys can get it done for Marion. And I just think the other night it was Tom's turn, and he produced.
The game plan for the Patriots definitely seemed like it was just get the ball to your playmakers out in space, which is really awesome when you have so many players like the Patriots do. And, we were talking about Colin, even though it's not necessarily one of his better games, because teams like Searcy have seen the Jacksonville film and how well he did there. It shows everybody that, hey, we need to put our best defender on him, and that'll open up some other stuff when like Brown and Tom whenever he had those open misdirection plays. So it is really good that you do have a playmaker like him, because everybody's going to be focusing on him as a defender, but you've also got to worry about this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. So I know you don't have as many.
Nice.
I know you don't have as many yards as you'd like to, but hey, you ended up getting a W anyway, so that's the main thing.
And you know what? I think that maybe last year our team would be more, or individuals would be more down about a lackluster night, but with coming out of a W against a team you haven't beat in 4 or 5 years. I think that's an occasion for all smiles. Now, one thing I do want to point out is after the game, Coach Jed Davis talked to Patriot Nation in his, it's almost become a post-game presser of sorts. So let's listen to that real quick.
That feels good, doesn't it? Yes, sir. Hey, we told you all week we had our best week of practice this week, didn't we? Yes, sir. Hey, and that's what we've been telling you. Okay, we finally put 4 good days together. And look at what happened. Man, that's it. That's what we've been waiting on. 4 days of practice, and then that result. I love the fact that they had this many people for homecoming. They shut the scoreboard off within 3 seconds after that game, and they're all going home with the sad face. That's what I like to see. Hey, we talked about having to win this game to keep our hopes alive for a bye, first home playoff game, and you came out and did it. Okay, enjoy it, man. Enjoy it for the next 48 hours. Okay, yes, we got to come back to work. Here's the deal. We can't have a letdown because whose homecoming is it next week? Okay? We got to protect that. You understand? Hey, super proud of you tonight. Super proud of you. Grab a hand, guys. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this night. Thank you for these young men. Thank you for all the effort that they put forth on a daily basis, Lord. Lord, we just ask that you be with them this weekend, help them make smart decisions that honor and glorify you. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, so now one of the things that I want to point out from this is he said we had a great week of practice. Guys, we know that last year we played Searcy here for homecoming. And one of the concerns that I remember very distinctly Coach Davis had going into that game was they had an awful week of practice.
Yep.
It wasn't just distractions that come with homecoming. It was just things weren't clicking. I don't know if attitudes were in the way. There was something about that week that didn't work. And then you play Searcy this year, you completely turn it around, and guess what? You have a 35-14 victory on the road. On the road. So I think that is something that is huge for this team. What are your thoughts about that turnaround against the same team, just with what happened in practice?
Well, practice is definitely the most important part of the deal. I know Allen Iverson would say otherwise.
Scoff at that, and has scoffed at it before.
But with a sport like football, it's all about your game plan and what you're going to do specifically for this matchup. And so if you're not paying attention during the week, you're going to miss some stuff. You're going to miss some of the characteristics of the team that you're playing. You're not going to take them as seriously, which is something you got to worry about this week because it is homecoming. But especially with a team as dangerous as Searcy has been the past few years. So it was very good that you could come in this week, just have absolute focus. I think Jed said it was the best week of practice they've had all season so far.
Monday through Thursday, yeah.
So, yeah, if that's the result of it, coming out and beating a very good team like Searcy at home on their homecoming, the sky's the limit right now.
And that's, I think, the other thing. They had the homecoming bird to deal with this year. Now, I don't know that it affected them as much. I don't think it's the Searcy that we've seen lately. They've still been very good. They had a big win 2 weeks ago on the road themselves. Maybe they were overlooking, man. You'd have to ask, Mark Kelly and Searcy. Really, you can't take anything away from the Pats. The Pats, they came out there, they handled business. And now, as far as big picture goes, there are a lot of goals in front of Marion. Everybody was pretty disheartened about that West Memphis loss a couple weeks ago here, but now if Marion wins out, and I don't know that they can do that. Jacksonville's or Jonesboro's quality, Pine Bluff's going to be there. You've got 2 home games, Mountain Home Friday. You got Jacksonville here Senior Night. There's no reason this team can't finish at least 4-3 in the conference.
Yeah.
And then wherever that goes, we don't know how the other games are going to go. But and I'll tell you this too. The other thing, as was pointed out by Coach Davis, 13-point win. That's the maximum amount of points you can get in a football game. You can win by 48 or you can win by 13, and it means the same in the tiebreaker differential. So you go down the line. West Memphis beat Marion by 12 here, but then Searcy beat West Memphis by 7. So all that.
Yeah.
It's never too early to start paying attention.
Right, and it's a very interesting scenario because you have 4 teams tied for second right now. Jonesboro is the one that stands alone after beating Pine Bluff the other night.
4-3-0, right.
So with everybody 2-1, it's kind of just this this huge conglomerate of who's going to make the most plays.
Who's going to take care of business.
Right. So right now, kind of the predisposition for us is to assume that Pine Bluff is going to get that 2 seed. But Tyler feels like that's a lot different, and Tyler's selling me on that. So I think that Pine Bluff game is a lot more interesting now.
I think that's the battle for the 2 spot.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if it stands right now and Pine Bluff gets that 2 seed, Marion should have the 4 seed because you take the total number of points accumulated up to in the conference, and then whoever has that, or the lowest of those 3, they're knocked out. In this case, it would be Searcy. And then you have to deal with the head-to-head matchup of Marion and West Memphis. And we know how that result ended a few weeks ago between Marion and West Memphis. Now, there's a lot of football to be played between now, especially if you want to go after Pine Bluff the way I think our boys are feeling it right now. I don't know what could stop them after the other night's performance. Everything was reliable. Slants out in the flat. Peyton Walker was on one. Tom Young, obviously. So I think that we are finding our Patriots in midseason stride, and I think that they have gotten enough of the good life from the past 2 weeks, and hopefully against Mountain Home, that they'll want to keep that up. So let's talk about Mountain Home. This week we are in homecoming. Hasn't boded well in the past, with the exception of actually having Mountain Home
2014.
Right,
yeah.
For homecoming. So is that the same thing? Is it coach versus minimizing distraction? What kind of game plan do they have to approach this entire week with now?
Yeah, I think you definitely have to be on your toes right here. As I explained to y'all earlier today, in my opinion, every game now means everything. I know you look at Mountain Home and the record hasn't been there, and everybody's looking forward to Pine Bluff, right? I feel like we all were like, man, this could be a big game. But you can't overlook Mountain Home here because a loss here is more damaging, in my opinion, than even a win over Pine Bluff.
Could take you out of the playoffs.
It could take you out of the playoffs totally, absolutely. Use that tiebreaker, maybe it snowballs on you. This is a serious game. They're all big now. Now that you've kind of made up for an earlier loss that you feel like you could have won with the Searcy win, that now that you've kind of put yourself back into it. Everything's in front of you right now if you're Marion. You can't stub your toe against Mountain Home. If you believe you're better than Mountain Home, you got to come out here. You got to take care of business. And here's the thing too. Here's the other important thing. Last year was homecoming. It was a nasty night. It was rainy.
It was a weird day.
It was a weird day all the way. Yeah, but you got to think about Marion's mindset too. They lost to West Memphis week 4. They had lost to Cabot week 5. Yeah. So now everybody was kind of taking Searcy for granted. We got them at home. It's homecoming. All this. I think they were kind of overlooking Searcy as good as they had been, in my opinion. And as you referenced, the struggles at practice too. And then Searcy just took it to them, and I think that's sort of the thing. Mountain Home, they're coming off a win. They're brimming with confidence right now, okay? They beat Jacksonville. They snapped a long conference losing streak. So the Bombers aren't going to lay down for you either. So like I said, this is a huge game. Yeah, homecoming could play a huge role, but if you're serious about this thing and you want to win a conference title, you want to get a conference home game, you got to have this one.
Yeah. Welcome to Monk's Maulers.
For Mountain Home, I think right now their defensive plan is just damage control. That seems to be what they've done the whole season. It's a bend, don't break kind of defense.
Which worked out well for Marion the other night, playing that role itself. Shoot up a lot of clock.
I'm trying to think, was there anything in particular that stood out? They run a 3 front, and they'll have 2 dogs come in on the sides if they think it's a run play. Other than that, they're going to be out covering receivers. But that's all Marion has nowadays, so they'll be out covering the receivers. Just a really slow team. I think this is a defense kind of like Searcy's, so that's about it defensively for the
Tom
Bombers.
Young, remember, slow feet don't eat, so get the shoes wiped off and ready to go. I think that obviously, since we've changed up our fast picks to major keys of the game, this would be one that I think we all, even if we stuck with the old format, would say Marion wins, right?
They don't want you to win on homecoming. Oh, it's a major key.
Okay, so Tyler, for the Patriots to win homecoming, what's it going to take? Your major key.
The major key for me is going to be the Patriot defense. We've seen that these DBs are some of the best that Marion's had in a long time, but they've had some trouble against running teams like Mountain Home. Particularly, I'm thinking off the top of my head, West Memphis was a team that they had trouble with. Wynn was a team they had trouble with. And they run a system that's kind of similar to Wynn, except they will run wing tee and wishbone, and they'll run speed option, they'll run toss, trap, counter, anything you can think of basically with that kind. And so the main deal for the Patriot defense, that's going to be the key to the game, is recognizing what plays that they're running. They're going to try and deceive you to get some extra yards. The fastest player on their team is actually their quarterback. So he's going to have 10 defenders whenever he's running the ball. He's going to have 10 blockers whenever he has the ball. So the main deal for the Patriots is just going to be stopping the Mountain Home run game.
Okay. Your major key, sir?
Major key, this is a business trip. Like I said, like we just explained, this is a deal where you have to learn, let's say dealing with success. All right, you've won 2 straight in the conference. You defended your home turf against Little Rock Hall. You went on the road and picked up a big road win. How do you respond to that? Mentally, where do you go from here? Do you say, all right, we've put in our work, we've done this, we're maybe in the playoffs now? Or do they say, we want more, we want to go after more? I think the biggest thing now, you've got to guard against looking ahead. I know the Pine Bluff game looms large, 2-time defending 6A champs, been to 3 straight titles. You can't think about that right now. Like I said, the biggest thing is handling success. How do you build on it? How do you respond to it? Because responding to success is just as important as how you respond to adversity, in my opinion. Marion was 1-3 once upon a time. They're at 3-3. Do they want to get above 500? We'll see this week at practice. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. For me, I think there's a lot that's going to be involved with our offense that determines this game. Obviously, that's kind of an obvious answer, but there are several circumstances surrounding this game now. Last year, this was the game where the game plan going into that was the Patriots needed to have some kind of morale booster or get the season back on track. So the A team stayed in there the entire game, much to Mountain Home's chagrin, and it was, 49-14.
49-14.
So it was a huge... What are you talking about?
I didn't say it.
Oh. So it was a huge victory, and obviously one that helped to catapult the Patriots into a playoff victory, I think. Definitely helped them prepare for that. You're going to be at home. It is homecoming. More importantly for me, though, I'm wearing pink, it's our Score for the Cure game. We ask everyone who is willing to kindly make a donation. It's usually $1 from me per every time the Patriots score in this game. There are a lot of offensive weapons now. You've got Tom Young feeling it right now. You got Colin Chambers, and even Bradford Doherty is capable of putting points on the board. So Score for the Cure. I come out of this box, I'll go all the way down, come back up, and try to encourage everyone. We want you to come out, support, wear pink, donate to the cause. This goes straight to the Coleman Foundation, and it's something we've done as long as I've been an announcer. I think we started that in 2011, and so about the 5th or 6th time we've done it. So it's a great cause, and we hope that you will join us for it. So hopefully offensive numbers are my key to this game. So congratulations on Searcy. Good luck this week. We're looking forward to it, and let's have a happy homecoming. On the other side of the campus, we have the Lady Patriot volleyball team taking on this week two of the more tough opponents that you can have back-to-back with Jonesboro on the road up at their place.
Don Riggs, Hurricane Arena.
And then following that, Senior Night. It's already here for the Lady Patriots as they welcome in the Lady Raiders of Nettleton High School. Before we get to that, last week was the annual pink game for the Lady Patriots as they took on the Blue Devils of West Memphis High School in a game that means so much to this community. I think that it really did a lot to get us past some things that had happened out here, and I think that it was just a wonderful occasion. Tyler, how'd you feel about what was going on pregame?
The pregame for this one's always special. This year we had two ladies from Marion and one from West Memphis that were being honored in this one. Just heartbreaking stories with some of these, but
Yes.
the thing that we can pull away from these is we need to just realize just how precious life is with this game. Something you wouldn't expect out of just a volleyball game on a Tuesday night, but this is a really important game to this community because it brings out the best in both of these teams. As far as a community standpoint goes, this is probably the biggest deal between the two teams, football, basketball included.
We call it rivalry done right. And when we do this, people stand to benefit well beyond just the reaches of the game. People awareness is raised. Maybe someone who heard the story of Miss Haney about getting a mammogram at a mobile unit, maybe that will inspire them to have their mammogram taken care of, and then maybe that helps to save a life. That's the point in this, is when you do rivalry right, lives are impacted. So it's a great effort, I think, that both volleyball teams put on. But there is business to be taken care of, and the Lady Patriots sure did take care of that. How'd the game go for you, Chuck?
Yeah, I thought it was a really sharp performance. Sometimes you were kind of talking about homecoming. Of course, the pink game is another thing. When there's so much going on, it's kind of hard to figure out mentally where you're at. But I thought they looked really sharp. They didn't overlook West Memphis. They knew they were in the hunt for conference title again after the Valley View. They had a lot of people at the gym ready to see them. I thought they were about as sharp as they could be. Single digits twice, I believe. I'm going off memory here, and defended the home court. That's 31 straight now. And it would be tough to find anything. The one thing, I guess, serving errors. I think they had 5 in the second set alone for some uncharacteristic.
Right.
But again, that's just one of those things.
Serving here lately has been hit or miss for them, but we've seen it turn around, especially with Sarah Burford, as she earned our honors for Player of the Week for the volleyball team with 7 aces. That's pretty impressive. I don't care who you're playing. So I think that there was a lot of momentum game from that. Thursday night they traveled to Blytheville, won 3-0.
5-6-5.
Not much you can say about that. It's an unfortunate situation.
Key wins though for the conference championship, and not over, handling business the way you should. Get, like I said, they all count at this point of the year.
So while that game was going on, I actually had to take care of the junior high squad that was playing MacArthur that night. And in Don Riggs was Nettleton versus Jonesboro in their peak game. So I didn't get to actually see a ton of it because they started so late. We were done with the junior high game by the time they had started. It was incredible, though, how much stock those two teams were putting into beating each other. So with the Lady Patriots taking on Jonesboro this coming up Tuesday night, what kind of momentum do you think that we'll see Jonesboro with going into this? Because I believe that they did knock off Nettleton that night in 5.
Jonesboro's a team that always seems to play better as the year goes on. I know a couple years, I think it was when the senior group was sophomores. They played them early at the gym, early in the season, like September 5th or 6th, and they beat them pretty good. And then they went up there and they actually lost a set, but ended up winning in 4 last year.
Went up there first.
And right, yeah. But here they looked a lot better. They were playing. I think it was still a sweep, but they played better. Jonesboro's a dangerous team. The Chad Cummings is the guy that he's been a college coach. He's been through the battles. This is going to be a key game right here because they're still jostling for position in the district tournament too. A win over Marion would look really good on their resume. I think they would be what? Would they be 13-3 if they could finish 13-3 or something like that? So that would be tough. Like I said, they're going to be ready to go. It's a great volleyball atmosphere there in Jonesboro. This is a team that really handles its business on the road traditionally. But yeah, I think Jonesboro, they always seem to peak in October, which is when you want to, I think.
So with this game over here, the first one, Lady Patriots did drop a set against them 4-1, or 3-1 being the final. But I think that our Lady Patriots weren't too concerned about that, just because there was some adjustment, because they adjusted. It was a very weird game. It was like they were trying to outsmart each other rather than outbrute each other, which I think a healthy mix of both is going to get you the game. But talking about going up there, keys to the game. I guess I'll go first on this one. It's going to be about adjustments. Because they adjusted to us extremely well. They knew where the ball was going on spikes. They knew where it was going on dinks, even on blocks. They knew which direction. It was incredible how they just knew, and made it a very good game to watch. So a lot of credit to the coaching on that in Jonesboro with Coach Cummings. So adjusting to adjustments. That's my key. What's yours?
Yeah, I think playing with the proper amount of emotion. Like I said, playing on the road, Jonesboro's a team that, they were the 2013 state champs. They're the last team to beat Marion at home. They're going to be up for this game, as I was just saying. They're going to have they're going to have a lot of people there. They're going to be backing them. I think it's their senior night.
It's got to be.
They've got a good group of seniors there that have been through a lot there. They got good freshmen. We were all very impressed with their freshmen. They moved up earlier in the season.
Clara Parker.
Yeah, Clara
If
Parker.
I remember your name, you did something.
That was about 4 weeks ago. So she's had 4 weeks now of varsity experience under her belt. She's probably going to get better. Just speculating here. And again, it's going to be one of those things that Jonesboro, they're really going to be up. So can Marion match that intensity? I think they can. I think they will. But that's going to be the key, because if Jonesboro is that excited playing at home, everybody's better at home. So it's going to be a tricky one late in the season. But
I think the key is going to be the Patriot defense. This is a really smart offensive team with Jonesboro. They're going to make all kinds of adjustments. It's going to be about the Patriot defense adjusting, getting into position whenever they're going to make their kill or tip attempts. It's all it's going to be about. They're also handling the emotions. They're going to try and open up the roof there in Jonesboro. They're going to have what's their student section called?
The Gulf.
The Gulf. They're going to have the Gulf there.
The Black Hole. I don't know.
And speaking of the student sections, if it's possible for student sections to have rivalries, and I'm under the impression that it is, obviously the trenches, this is going to be West Memphis number 1, and then number 2, Jonesboro. For whatever reason, maybe it's that they've always been both 6A. Maybe it's because that's not a hard drive at all. And the schools are very similar in things that how we play and the way contests go. There's a little bit of a rivalry there. So I'm hoping that Trench, we get there. Because I think that they will need us. Jonesboro's not an easy place to play at. That place, they claim open the roof, but there's not a more closed roof in 6A, I think, for volleyball or basketball in Riggs. So it's an interesting atmosphere. Get up there, support, and let's get them out of there with a win. And back here for senior night on Thursday night, as the Lady Patriots will welcome in the Lady Raiders, a team that took Lady Patriots to 5 up there. Now, I think that if you ask the Lady Patriots, that was maybe a little bit of an anomaly because they had them down 0-2 with match point and somehow dropped 6-point leads, 5-point leads twice. So what's the game plan for over here now after having won up there in 5? First 5-set game in 2 years.
Going back to what we were saying against Jonesboro, I think it's just going to be controlling your emotions. This is a team that knows in the back of your head, hey, they dropped a couple really close ones. Maybe that's going to be something that we could take advantage of. Maybe they're getting relaxed. It's all about just keeping your foot on the pedal if you're the Lady Patriots, not letting up and just finishing out these sets, which we know that they're capable of doing. It's just a matter of going out and executing.
For our team, it is senior night. Now, you think, okay, if we went 5 up there, and we've improved, certainly gotten our game plan better. There was still some, Allie was just coming back at Nettleton up there. She's back to full strength, I think. I think for us, we have the confidence to say, okay, we can get back to normal on this, maybe a sweep. But then it's senior night. Everyone's all in them emotions, and that's okay. You've worked hard for this night. You deserve it. But there is going to be, it's like homecoming, and we know that our coaches don't like distractions, and it happens. Part of playing this game is you have to deal with some pomp and circumstance. So how do you feel about senior night having such a formidable opponent?
Yeah, I think senior celebration is the key to the game. I think that for Marion to win, and hopefully, I think everybody would ideally want them to get a share of the conference title at least. Maybe win it outright, depending on what happens with Valley View. The seniors are going to have a big night. That's usually the case since so many seniors play. Burford and Bermucci and Parker and Phipps, but that's especially going to be true here. It's going to be about them performing on the court, leading on the court, and sort of putting that behind them. To take care of business. They've always been very good about doing that.
Yes.
I don't know that this would be any different because they still have a lot of things on their plate past this. Yes, it's senior night, and their family's going to be there, and everybody's looking forward to that aspect of it. But still a lot on the court to handle, and I don't know that another group has ever done that more. They're very businesslike. So.
Do you think senior night during football homecoming week makes it that much worse?
Oh wow,
Yeah,
double up.
It can definitely make things, especially when your homecoming queen is your outside hitter. So she can handle it. I think that won't be an issue for her or for anyone. My only concern is, I guess my major key on this one is fatigue. Because, they did a tournament on Saturday where they played 3 games. One of them was against Valley View. And then they have to do Jonesboro. Who knows how that's going to go right now in terms of time. But if the Jonesboro-Nettleton game I was at is any indication, you're looking at a really, really late night because we start at 4:30 anyway. We got to play the 7th grade. We got to play Junior B, Junior A, and then we have to honor 8 seniors, 7 plus a manager. That's a long time. I mean, my voice is getting tired just thinking about it. And then you're playing a team that took you 5. So the latest game we've had so far is 9:45 getting out, and that was the 4-set game over here against Jonesboro. You're looking at, I think, possibly going past 10 o'clock if things don't go just right. So I think managing fatigue and, after a long day at school, some of them may be playing in the Powder Puff game that day. Who knows? It's homecoming week. The week is lit, as the kids are saying these days. So
it's going to be a long one.
Hopefully, it's going to be a good day, but it's definitely going to be a long one. We're going to be clocking in early and clocking out very, very late. So hopefully
get you a nap after school and a 5-hour energy.
Works great. Not
sponsored, by the way.
No,
Just off
pay us our money first.
Pay us our money. Nothing.
So, with that, that would be the end of the regular season. We'll have you covered next week for how the district tournament lines up. It looks like Patriots right now should be hosting at least 2 games, and hopefully it stays that way. So, any final thoughts for Searcy, for Mountain Home, for volleyball, anything?
I'm just really excited. Got a really good chance to go 3-1 in conference for the Patriot football team, and plus a really fun week for Patriot volleyball going against 2 of the top teams in this side of the state. Just going to be a really another fun week for Patriot athletics.
Yep.
As speaking for local media everywhere, I'm just excited to be here.
And as a teacher, I am excited to see our athletes rising to the occasion. A lot of them rising to the occasion in the classroom as well. So that's making us very proud. And hopefully Patriots get the number 1 seed in the 6A East for the district tournament in volleyball. And hopefully we're talking about our first conference 3-game winning streak next week in at least 4 or 5 years. So last year our 3-game winning streak was all in non-conference. So getting back to that kind of winning way. So I'm Lyndon West.
I'm Chuck Livingston.
Tyler Bennett.
Saying we look forward to seeing you next week, and be sure to visit us for senior night and homecoming.
Go Pats.